Hey, Jason Browse here from Browse Blades. I just wanted to do a quick overview video, try to answer some questions about the reloader, and basically just give you guys my perspective on the knife in general. So I guess first we'll just take a quick look. The handles are made from black G10 stainless steel pocket clip, titanium liners, D2 tool steel, and we'll give you a look at the blade and the flip action. I bet this suspense is just killing you right now, huh? Just seeing that pressure on that finger, it's just killing you. Check out that grind. That grind was an absolute bitch to do. If you don't believe me, get a piece of steel and try to copy that grind. Some people were asking, are all these ground by hand or are they ground by machine? The answer to that question is both. They are pre-ground on the CNC, and then we heat treat them, and then we actually have a fixture we set these up on the grinder, and do the grinds, and then we finish this part by hand without a fixture. This is just to make sure we get it straight and consistent every single time. We rarely use fixtures for grinding, but on production runs, when you're making 500 pieces, sitting there and holding this by hand 500 times is it's not realistic. And also, I'm trying to give you guys the best prices possible, and if I did each one by hand, it would take forever, and I would have to probably double the price because it would take me twice as long. There's a good view of the grind. We try to put like a nice, we call it a satin, but it has a little slight polish to it, and the reason we do that is it helps protect it from rusting, since it is D2. This will not rust unless you leave it outside in the rain for a couple days. You don't have to baby it, but I would suggest putting just a spray of WD-40 on it, once a week or so, or even longer than that. I use D2 all the time on my knives, and I never spray WD-40 on them, and I never have a problem with any kind of rust or corrosion. So there's one of the biggest problems I had when designing part of this knife was the pocket clip. When I was working with Mikkel, the sample he did was a frame lock, and he just had a regular pocket clip, just attached to the frame lock side. But as you can see, these ridges are they're pretty gnarly, and if you just take a look at this side up here, how would you put a pocket clip on there? You could try to run it along the side here, but then this ridge would cut into your pants. There just really isn't too many options. So I sat down with my CAD guy and we tried to come up with some ideas. And I know most people like a deep set pocket clip, so this is what him and I came up with. It's pretty cool. You can just take off that screw and you can slide this thing out. And if you want to put it on the other side, you slide it inside that pocket there, and we have a little cutout in here. And the reason for that is if you tighten it and you don't have the cutout on the liner, then you're going to crack this because there's a gap underneath there. So the little cutout in the liner helps where you screw it flex a little bit, so you can get that clip nice and tight and not worry about puncturing the G10 there. Let's see what else. Nice gear pattern, G10 back spacer. What's cool about this knife is that you don't have to use the flipper. That's why we cut out this groove here. You get your thumb in there and you just pull that thing right out and it'll snap open. You can take a look at the lockup. A lot of customers that have been buying my knives for a while, they know that my first Silent Soldier flipper, we had some lockup problems, and honestly, I can tell you that was just, you know, from not being experienced enough. So when we're designing new knives now, I've learned a lot, and we've done a bunch of prototypes, and you know, that's one of the main key things that I'm looking at now over everything, is to have a good lock. We don't want any play up and down, side to side, nothing. It needs to be rock solid. Also, the way that this is cut, this is a Mikkel Williamson design for the lock, and you can see it's actually making contact with the surface way out here. Usually the lock would be touching about right here, but since it's way out here, it makes it a lot more sturdy because you're further away from the pivot pin and also the stop pin. They're all the furthest distance that they can be, and that is the sign of a good locking folder. Also, some customers have noticed that we did a thicker liner on the lock side and a thinner liner on the non-lock side. I think this is something that we're going to do on all of our folders. The reason for it is you just get a sturdier lock. You get a stronger lock when that liner is thicker. You don't need to match the liner on each side because there's just no reason to. You know, you could put a smaller liner here if you wanted to, but I think it would look funny if there was too much of a difference. But I think that difference is just slight enough to where it doesn't throw off the knife at all. You really have to almost measure them to see that they're different. So some people were asking, you know, how this collaboration came up. I've been a fan of Mikkel Williamson's for a while. Some of his designs are pretty far out there, but I still love that. I love the fact that he can be creative and not be afraid to do something that's so bizarre. So what I wanted to do was take one of his designs and basically put my spin on it. So we talked, and this handle design was probably one of my favorite things that he's ever done. The way that looks and the way it feels, it just curls right into your hand, and it feels unbelievable. And the way he did it was, like I said earlier, he just had, you know, a titanium frame here, and this was only on one side. So for a right-hander, you would hold it like that, and you would only have the titanium, the flat titanium, in your hand. And it wasn't feeling like it was taking advantage of that great design. So the first thing I wanted to do was make this a liner lock, and to have that beautiful G10 scale on both sides, so it really fills out the hand and feels really nice. So basically what happened was I, you know, picked one of his designs that I really liked, and I said, hey, do this, do this, do this, do that. You know, I told him to do the grinds like this. I told him to do a full scale with that design on there. Usually he just does a bolster, just the back part or either the front part. And I told him to do the whole scale, do a geared back spacer, do the jimping the same, do the cutout like this, and I just basically gave him instructions, and he made a prototype. We then took that prototype and to my CAD guy, and we drew up everything on the CAD files on the computer, and started making adjustments, and this is what you get here. It's kind of a short story, but you know, that's how that stuff works, you know. Check out this this detent. It just sucks the knife in. I think that you really got to feel it. It's kind of hard to see, but it's an amazing detent. There's no way I could flick this out as hard as I could. There's just no way it's coming out, which also gives it a great flipping action. As you can see, we did the serial numbers right here. Did the Browse blades on top here on the spine, and then did Mikkel's logo right here on the clip. So we're doing a 500 piece run of these. Right now we've sold about 400 of them, so we're going to be running out pretty quickly. Been considering doing another one of these, but with carbon fiber scales instead of G10. Let me know what you guys think of that idea, and if you'd be interested in the same version but with carbon fiber scales, and we could start working on a new batch. These are available at browseblades.com. Like I said, we don't have too many left. Also going to be available at Knife Center and Blade HQ and a couple other dealers. Alright, I think that just about covers it. Thanks for watching.